If you're looking to monetize your brand or business in 2025 and beyond, and I'd say that it will still work for the next century. And what I'm talking about are digital products, but not just any digital product. The types of digital products that I like to create are ebooks. And I'm going to explain to you why and how to go about creating one yourself and start selling one. So since 2006, I've dabbled with all types of side hustles from eBay, buying things in bulk and then reselling them for a profit. So a bit arbitrary that way. And things like buying and selling websites. I was even freelancing, designing websites and even doing content marketing for other companies as an agency, all sorts of things, right? So I've been in the game for quite a number of years. To say that ebooks are pretty much the easiest thing that you can create, and one of the things that you can do to turn your knowledge and your skills and perhaps your hobbies and something that is rather tangible, right? We can't see it, but we are wanting to sell it virtually and online. And the reason why is because really it's low barrier of entry. You don't need a lot to start with. Pretty much with a few free tools that you can find online, ones that you are probably using already, you can get started and create that and build that ebook of yours and start selling. Another reason why is because there's no inventory. You don't need to hold any stock, such as physical products. And that's something I did try, but never had any success because really profit margins are very tight and you need to calculate your expenses, try to lower your costs, so many other variables. So this is why the digital products route is the way to go. Another great reason why is because that ebook can be sold worldwide, globally, 24/7, as long as you have a place to obviously sell it on your website. This could be on your socials or wherever it may be. So there's no limitation. There's no ceiling in terms of how many copies can you actually sell, rather than selling, books, physical books where there are limited copies. You have to get them reprinted by the publisher, so on and so forth. Creating an ebook really is simple, and it starts with an idea, brainstorming what things you want to talk about in that ebook, and then using tools that will assist you in writing your ebook. And don't feel daunted in any way about writing. The mistake that new beginners make is that they think that they need a 200 to 300 page ebook to make it valuable, right? It doesn't mean that. The more pages does not equate to more value. But instead, if you can actually condense what you know and what the transformation is in less pages, then so be it, right? Let that be it. If it means that it's only going to be 10 pages to get the nuggets of what your audience really did come for, then that's all you need. So don't feel overwhelmed. So I just want to start by saying that before you actually go ahead and start creating your ebook. Now, once you have an idea, what I suggest you do is use the assistance of AI. So use your favorite LLM, such as ChatGPT, Claude, or any of the other ones that you prefer. Come up with some titles for your ebook. Don't be too fancy. Don't be too cute with your name. Tell it as it is, like what is your ebook about? What's the transformation? What's the benefit? And that should be the emphasis of title. And also don't forget a subtitle to kind of elaborate more on that title so it supports it. The next thing you're going to want to do is create a skeleton or a rough outline of the chapters that you want to talk about in your ebook. And this will give you a starting ground, at least, to then fill in those blanks, whatever it is that you know. And it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. And this is the thing with creating any, type of product, any kind of product. You can talk about your subject in any order as you want, and then you polish it later on. And that's the iterations. That's where it all comes into play. And once you've done that, you want to clean it up, right? Clean it up, clean the grammar, use the assistance once again with using LLMs like ChatGPT. Or if you really can't come up with the words, but you know what it is that you want to talk about, why not use the voice mode in ChatGPT or using whatever AI that you're comfortable with, talk about that subject and then prompt it to structure it in a guided format. So prompt it for something like, now that I've brainstormed and brain dumped everything that I know, please put this into a neat structured format ready as a guide or an ebook so that my audience will understand it. So you could very well go that route, or you could go the route of even using ChatGPT to come up with the content as a basis and then tying in, of course, your voice, your stories, but it's always going to be a lot more authentic, a lot more organic, coming up with the content yourself from scratch. But hey, we don't want to stress too much about getting our ebook, or at least our first one, done right or perfect. The whole aim is to get a digital product out there so that you can start monetizing your brand or business. One of my favorite tools is by simply using Google Docs. You can very well just use Word, but in your Google Docs account, because it is free, just start with a blank canvas and you can type away, but don't worry too much about formatting at this stage. As a side note, I do have a full tutorial on how to create an ebook in Google Docs, so I'll link it in the description box below so you can follow that more in depth. Another alternate is to simply use Canva, right? Canva's got a ton of templates ready for you to choose from. You can start by saying or searching more so for A4 or ebook, and that will at least get you that typical format or that orientation of an ebook. And then with that, you can then choose a design. And what I also like to look for, this is a little tip here, is by simply searching for workbook, and you'll find quite a number of aesthetic looking ebook layouts. So let's say this one here, you can check out what it looks like. It's got different pages and it's quite dynamic, different layouts and styles. So you can pick and choose what you want, delete what you don't want. But this is a great starting ground if you don't have any design skills. So by clicking on apply all, you can simply replace the text here and then, of course, put in your own words. Alternatively, what you can use Canva for is by simply creating a cover for it. Then once you've done that, save it as an image and then go back to Google Docs and then put that on the first page of your Google Docs so that you've got something at least that looks like an ebook, right? We've got a front page, a title page, and then we've got the rest of the content. Next, once you have your ebook ready, make sure you actually export it as a PDF doc. That's the easiest, most universal way to distribute your ebook because PDFs can be read by everyone and any device, but avoid giving out the actual Word doc or the Google Doc to your audience or your customers. Then it becomes editable. Once you have your ebook ready, what you're going to need is a digital product selling system, a place where you can sell your ebook. And I'm not talking about a place where you can just simply upload it, an audience, you've got customers coming in and seeing it and buying it. Well, what I'm talking about instead is a place where you can simply house it and it will automatically deliver your ebook for you. There's one particular one that I recommend, and the one that I'm talking about isn't Gumroad because their pricing is just ridiculous now, in my opinion. It's like 10% transaction fee plus 50 cents for every sale that you make. Now, this won't mean much if you're just selling 1 or 2 products a month, but if you do sell dozens and dozens each and every month, it adds up, right? But to be fair, Gumroad does have its own marketplace, kind of like an Amazon KDP sort of thing, where they will somewhat feature your product. It's kind of vague in that way, but because you need to meet eligible sales, and once it gets enough reviews and stuff, they will kind of push it up a bit more. There's a 30% charge on that, right? 30% fee if your product does get sold through the marketplace. So that's just something to note. The platform that I actually recommend is Payhip because their pricing is great for starters and beginners. $0 per month. So is, Gumroad, there's $0 per month on that, but it's only a 5% transaction fee plus any PayPal or Stripe fees. But if you do come to a point where you're selling a lot, which is a great thing, then you are going to want to look at one of the other plans. By the way, I am not sponsored in any way by Payhip. I've just been talking about them because it's one of the OGs, one of the platforms that is just simply reliable and one that doesn't cost an arm and a leg to start selling products. But yeah, take a look at some of the other plans if you are considering selling a larger volume. Now, I'm not going to walk you step by step on the process of setting up your Payhip store and start selling it through there. I've got a full comprehensive tutorial on that. I'll link it in the description box below. But just to give you a little overview of what you can sell, you can start selling your digital downloads, online courses, even coaching services too, memberships if you want to start collecting recurring income, and physical products. But we're not talking about that today. And really, the last step is probably the hardest, and that is to actually start selling it. And that's where audience building comes in. And yes, you could perhaps format your ebook into an Amazon Kindle format so that you can start selling it on the K2B market, but I'm not in that kind of field and I don't teach that. I've heard people who have done tremendously well on that platform, but on the other hand, they've said that it's quite saturated. So, you can give it a try. You're not limited to just selling it through PayHip. But the way that I've been selling my digital products is from my direct audience, right? I have been building an audience since the times of 2006 and beyond. I built an email list, a newsletter, and I recommend OmniSend for building your email list and following up and sending your newsletters. Perhaps the most powerful marketing channel of mine in terms of return on investment. And if you haven't started building a list yet, I highly recommend you do. Link to OmniSend will be in the description box below. The second way, of course, socials. Don't dismiss socials, but make sure you focus on one platform such as YouTube. If it's YouTube, make sure you focus on that. But if you do have the time and the effort and energy to put in and to make the content, then yes, diversify a little. Otherwise, go on socials, Instagram, your TikToks and whatever other platforms that you want to share your knowledge on or your hobbies and your skills. All of those platforms, really, there's no limitation with where you can market your products, but some will work, some will not. But the best way is to build your own audience because there's instant credibility, instant trust. They've followed you for a reason. And if you want to then sell something, they have more trust, on you as opposed to someone else who they've never engaged with. I've got a couple of other tutorials to walk you through the process. So I'll link one right here, which will give you a system for creating ebooks and also selling it. And this one here so that you can start actually creating your ebook step by step. So I'll see you in one of these.